Hi everybody, this is Miss Sherwin speaking. Welcome to Chapter 6 Grammar Review, all about using verbs. Because Chapter 6 has 7 distinct lessons, I will be mainly focusing on reteaching those concepts rather than walking through, all of the practice problems. I'll do a few here and there, but just know that you can go back into the same Grammar 6 folder and find this exact PowerPoint to work with and do some practice problems on your own time. But let's begin first. Basic principal parts of a verb. So we have 4 main principal parts of a verb, but then we add on irregular verbs on top of that. So we have present, so we just have that kind of simple present verb. We have present participle, which is when the verb is currently happening. So that that verb is will be present or a variation of it, and then ing. Past, meaning that the verb happened, and past participle, meaning that it has happened. So we have that additional verb has to showcase that past participle. Irregular verbs, as I mentioned in class, you will encounter them on your test just as you will encounter them through life. So I would recommend maybe bookmarking, going back, looking at your notes, and just knowing where to find the charts on irregular verbs in case you are asked a question regarding those verbs. On the test, you will encounter questions just like this. So you're going to want to choose the correct verb form that is because in the sentence right now we have the incorrect verb form. So yesterday, my friends bring cake to my birthday party. Instead, we would change that bring to brought. Okay, it happened yesterday. We're dealing with past. We're not dealing with past participle though, because we don't have that has brought in there. But just know that that is our key verb that we are changing. If you want to do any other practice with this, I would say you could pause the video, go back, look at those questions, or just go back, look at the PowerPoint, and you'll be able to find all of those with the correct answers as well. I'm going to be cruising along here though into verb tenses, so forming verb tenses. I will let you know based off of what you will be asked on the test. This area, you are either going to want to take screenshots, take notes, or just make sure that in your previous grammar notes, you have this information recorded. I view forming verb tenses just like, creating a list of formulas in a way. So we'll have 3 kind of breakdowns, 3 categories for verb tenses. We have simple, which is just the base form of the verb, so nothing changed there. We have perfect, which means that it shows a relationship between there's construction happening outside my building. We have perfect, which means that there's a relationship between 2 different actions taking place. And then it's then broken down into present, past, and future. Notice that each one of those has a different formula. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about with creating our little formula list. And then we have progressive. So it expresses that an event is currently in progress. So that's where we get that progressive. And then, of course, it's broken down once again into present, past, and future. Just know that on your test, you are going to have to decide what if I gave you a verb and I ask for, say, the simple present, so something from this slide, you'll have to figure that out. Or maybe I may ask for the present progressive of that verb. You're going to have to use the formulas that are laid out here for you. That's why I strongly recommend that you're either taking notes right now, you're going to go back through that PowerPoint later, or just know that those slides are available for you. Because once again, this grammar test is open note. So just something to keep in mind. This information, the present, is just the same as what I was previously saying. So with present verbs, we have simple present, we have present perfect, we have present progressive, and we have present perfect progressive. So just know that you're not necessarily identifying in the sentence, like if it's a simple present, present perfect, etc. You're going to be doing the opposite. So I'm going to be giving you a verb, and you're going to have a list of choices to choose from, and you're going to want to select whichever one I direct you towards. If I ask for the simple present or a present perfect, you're going to want to go back and look through those list of formulas to decipher that and figure that out. Once again, kind of continuing, we've got using verb tenses with past, and so we have that breakdown again: simple past, past perfect, past progressive, or past perfect progressive, with a whole other list of formulas attached to that. Most of the time, we're able to figure this out on our own just as we write. It's just now that we are assigning the labels to it. So that's where the part of the test that deals with verb tenses will focus on mainly identifying and labeling those things. And then last but not least, with future, once again, simple future, future perfect, future progressive, and future perfect progressive. So all those things, you're going to want to go back, know those formulas, or have them easily available to you. Okay. So I will actually just keep going here. Those were the questions that you could practice with. Just know that you have those available to you in the slides in the grammar folder. Sorry guys, my video limit is only about like 10 to 12 minutes long, so I have to speed along here. All right, third lesson, recognizing shifts in tense. So we want to avoid shifts in a verb tense in a sentence. So that means we need to match our tense as we go. This is also something that you probably already do. Maybe we make a flub every now and then and we've got to go back and revise, and that's very typical. But for most of the time, we can match it on the fly. So sentence number 1, Charlie likes tennis and practiced his backstroke for many hours. We already have a first verb in the sentence though, likes. And notice that it's likes and not liked. Okay, so Charlie likes tennis and practices his backstroke for many hours. So I would say search through the sentence before we reach this word that I'm asking you about. Is there a previous verb? What tense is it? And make sure that you are matching it. Moving on here to 6.4, active and passive voice. If this feels repetitive to you, it definitely is, because we dealt with this in chapter 5. So everybody should have stellar marks and points for this section of the test. A verb is active when the subject of the verb performs the action. It's passive when the subject of the verb receives the action. If it can be completed by something, then it's passive. Okay, so you won't always find that word by, by, in a sentence, but you know that if you find it there, it's most likely going to be passive. We won't spend too much time on this because we did this lesson previously. Just know that the questions, practice questions and practice answers are available to you in the grammar folder as well. Up next, identifying the mood of a verb. So on this part of the test, you are going to get it'll either be flip-flopped. So you'll either get a verb and you'll have to decide if it's indicative, imperative, or subjunctive, or basically the other way around, where I ask for the indicative, imperative, or subjunctive, and then you have to figure that out based off of that. Indicative means that it makes a statement or asks a question. Imperative meaning that it makes a command or a demand, so it's very imperative that you listen to me right now. Subjunctive means that it expresses a wish or states a condition contrary to the fact, so uses things like were instead of was. So with these practice problems, we can look here and decide with this first sentence, the Odyssey is an epic poem written by Homer. So with that, am I talking indicative? Am I making a statement? Am I making a command? Or am I expressing a wish? Well, I would say with this simple, basic, straightforward sentence, I am looking at indicative. Okay, making a statement. Go through, practice on your own with those as well. We are reaching the end here. I believe this is our last lesson, and I've got about a minute left. We have commonly confused verbs, okay? This is also another area where you're going to want to take notes or take a screenshot or have these available to you for the test. Lie versus lay gets confused all the time. Same with sit and set, rise and raise, and even in some cases, learn and teach. This section, very similar to like what I mean with formulas in a way. So let me just break it down for you with lie versus lay, and then it's basically repeated with our other words as well. So lie means that you're resting something in a flat position, and it's intransitive, meaning that there's no direct object. So you're not lying something down, you're laying something down. Laying means to place something. So if I laid the baby in the crib, I'm saying lay, and I'm not saying I'm lying the baby in the crib. So lie means that it's resting in a flat position. There's no direct object happening afterwards. I'm not lying something down. I am laying something down instead. Same thing goes for sit and set and rise, rise and raise. Okay, so sit and rise are first kind of ones right there. Do not have a direct object. On the other side of things, set and raise do. So make sure that you're following this formula above. If you're ever confused with learn and teach, just know that learning is to receive something, teaching is to give something. So make sure that that input and that output matches with the sentences that you work with. I strongly recommend going and checking your responses for questions like this. You are going to find questions pretty much exactly like these, obviously different circumstances, but basic, protocol on the test, having to select, is it sit or is it set? Is it raised or is it risen? So I would say get that practice in. That way you're feeling comfortable going into the test and you're not spending so much time trying to figure that out. And that is it. Sorry, my screen moved around a lot. That is it. Please let me know if you have any questions, and good luck on the test. Take care, Lakers.